With Season 2 finally upon us and many new players joining us in Fortuna 3, here are 30 plus tips you're going to need to succeed in the Cycle Frontier. Before we get into it, make sure you're following me on Twitch because I stream almost every day, and comment down below to be included in the video just like these guys are. And without further ado, let's get into it. So first things first, this is the station. This is where you go in between raids, and there's a ton of different things you can see and look around and test in the station. So first things first, for a quick tour, you have Korolev on the right, which is one of the factions. You can go to the residencies, and this is your player quarters. This is where you upgrade certain things to get better generators, inventory, and gear printer items. We then move over, and the stockpile is right here, which is the quick shop where you can buy your necessities for each raid. You have your gear printer right over here, which is where you're going to craft a lot of the items that you need, like backpacks, drills, weapons, armor, a ton of different stuff for medium, early, and late game. And then at the end, you have the ICA faction and the Osiris faction. Now, each faction is going to have a market, and you can sell stuff to each faction to gain faction rep. If you go to the sell items tab and everything looks like it's in an absolute mess, it's just not out of order, it's not color organized, you press escape, you back out, you go to your inventory, you go to inventory and you press X, and then everything sorts out for you. So once you go back to the sell items tab, everything will be sorted out perfectly for you to make it easy for you to sell anything you need. During your raids, you will find stuff called old currency, which weighs 0 pounds, and you should always store this in your safe pocket so it doesn't take up space in your stash. You will also earn scripts from different factions, and these also weigh 0, so keep them all in your safe pocket so they're not taking up room in your stash as well. So for each raid, you're gonna need some heals, and you can buy some white stims off of the quick shop right at the beginning. If you go to consumables, you get these weak stims for 90k marks each, but these are pretty bad. And once you complete some missions for the Osiris faction, you'll unlock green stims where you can purchase, but you can also craft these items, and you can craft them for a lot cheaper. So if we go over here and we go to consumables, you'll see that there are these consumables, and they cost 300 and 460k marks to craft. They do take some items, but that is no big deal because these items are in abundance on Fortuna 3. So as you can see, if I wanted to just straight up buy strong stims and combat stims with no craftables, it's going to cost 10 times the price of the ones that I would craft. So if you're tight on money, try focusing on crafting consumables. Now, one thing about this game is that you have a certain stash size. If you see up here, we have a 169 out of 220 stash, so it can be filled up to 220, but sometimes your stash is going to get full, and there's a way to save space that a lot of people don't think of. So along your way in Fortuna 3, you're going to find attachments, and you should always put these attachments on a weapon immediately. It doesn't matter if you're going to use that weapon with these attachments, it's just going to save you space. So if I see your stash is at 169 out of 220, and we put all of these attachments on our sniper, we put those on, we hop over to our other snipers, we put these attachments on, and we just keep doing that until we basically have everything put on an attachment. And as we see here, we saved 6 stash sizes, and we could keep going because we have a lot more attachments to put on different weapons, but always try to put them on different weapons as it will save you space in the long run. Now, there are different bags in this game, starting from the small bag. There is a green bag that I don't currently have. There's a blue bag, and there's a purple bag, and all of these bags make different noise, and the higher rarity the bag, the more it can carry, but it comes with some downsides. So if we put the smallest bag in the game on and we fill it to the absolute brim, as we see, it's 200 out of 200. We can go back, we're in the station, we have our bag on, and we're just gonna run from one side of the station to the other and just feel it out. See how you feel, see how you move, because as you can see, we're not too slow, we're pretty good speed. But now if we do the same thing and fill up our purple bag all the way to the absolute brim, now we're at 350 out of 350. We're gonna do the same exact run, and as you can see, we run a lot slower, and something you can't hear is that we're a lot louder. So the larger the bag you have and the more stuff you carry in it, the slower you'll be and the louder you'll be. So be careful when bringing these bigger bags. Now, some items that you should always bring into each and every raid and are super cheap are consumables called smokes, and if you can afford them, get gas grenades. You can buy smokes for 450k marks each, and these will help you greatly if you're in a bad spot in a fight and you need to get out quick. You can also craft the gas grenades if you don't have them yet unlocked from the Osiris faction, and these gas grenades help you make space in your fight. So if a team is now trying to push you, they can't because the gas is there, and gases in this game are so powerful, they will literally 4 to 5 tick you and you're dead. Now, if you're ready to deploy to Fortuna 3, you can go over here to the deploy to Fortuna 3 tab and press F, or you can just go wherever, hit tab, and then on the bottom right it says deploy, and you just hit it and you're ready to go. Now, there are 2 types of insurance in this game, and you can put your weapon, your armor, and your bag in here. This is going to either cost you Aurum, which is this token right here, the square token, which is this token right here, the triangle token, or you can use these star tokens. Now, for each item you put into the gear salvage, the Aurum cost will go up, and it will keep going up. And as you see, if we insure all 5 things with gear salvage, it's going to cost 310 Aurum. But if we only put one thing like our exotic chest plate, it's only going to cost 10. Now, these star tokens are actually really good because you get them from the battle pass pass, and imagine I had 5 star tokens. I could put all my stuff in here, and I could add this up to 5, and it would cost 0 Aurum, and it would only cost my star token. Now for the gear salvage, this tab is all about getting your stuff back if no one touches it. If your teammates pick up anything of yours, it voids any insurance, and if the enemy picks it up and evacs with it, you don't get the item back, but you get money back. Gear salvage is only good if no one takes any of your stuff, and if no one touches it, you get it back. Now on the other hand, standard insurance is all about not getting your stuff back, just getting money back. So you're gonna pay a base fee of this number right here. So as soon as you press it to insure it, it's gonna cost you 63k, but at any time when you lose your items, you have no chance of getting them back, and you're only gonna get a payout of this much if they manage to take everything, if you manage to lose everything. So in my experience, I would only use gear salvage when you're using stuff that's extremely important, like a legendary helmet or an exotic chest plate if you don't have much. Now when you're dropping down and you want to check the map quickly, because you can't do it automatically, double press the escape button and then press M, and the map can pop up for you. You usually can't use the map until you're fully landed in, and this is just a good way to get some information a little bit quicker. Now once you're in a raid, you're going to move around with your gun, and as you see, we are pretty slow when our stamina is draining pretty quickly. When you're running around on the planet, make sure to have your knife out, because you do run significantly quicker than you would with your heavy weapons out. So again, to save some stamina, make sure you are running with your knife out, but if you're in some high traveled areas, take your gun out. Now when you are fully out of stamina and you just have nothing left, stand still and start spamming crouch, and your stamina is going to increase so much quicker than when you wouldn't spam crouch. Stamina is crucial in this game, so always try to manage your stamina efficiently. If you run around and you jump, you'll see that the stamina bar goes down a lot quicker than when you don't jump, so try to avoid jumping as much as possible unless you absolutely need to. Now there's a lot of mantling on this game, and a lot of new players sit there and start spamming spacebar, and you should not do that. When you're about to climb a ledge, just jump and hold spacebar, and it'll climb you up automatically. Now if you press Q, you're gonna have this taskbar pop up, and you have 3 very important tools here. Pickaxes are obviously for mining ores, and these ores can be found all around the map. Titan ore can be found in caves, nickel can be found almost everywhere, and Veltacite can be found near waterfalls. Now another important tool you have is the flashlight, and this can be used in the darker areas, especially when you're running around a storm and you don't have the flashlight attached on your weapon, and it's really good to illuminate some of these darker areas just so you can see a little bit better. You also have this one thing called binoculars, and these binoculars are extremely important because they give you such a big advantage. When you're zooming in, you can check out areas, see if someone's in there, and if you go to your settings and you go to controls and keybinds, if you put a keybind to the hide HUD keybind and you zoom in with your binoculars and you start to hide your HUD, you will see that you have no visual impairment at all, and you can see a whole lot better when you have no HUD versus when you do have HUD. Now one great thing about the binoculars is that there is no glare. Now if you didn't know, if you use a scope like the 6 or the 8 times, there is a glare if you're a certain distance away from your enemy. But as you see in this clip, I have an enemy looking at me with an 8 times scope and then with a binocular, which both have a very similar zoom in ratio. So make sure you're using your binoculars as much as possible to gain as much information as possible. Now some creatures you're going to find along the way in Fortuna 3 are these things called Striders, and these are these little red creatures that just kind of crawl around and be a nuisance. But if you don't have a gun or you're low on ammo, take out your knife, charge it, and swing once, and they just die automatically. You just charge your knife by holding the knife button, and they just die in one shot. Now another creature that can really be a nuisance are the Rattlers, and these things charge up and shoot a beam at you, but they're pretty easy to dodge. Just wait for them to get in position when they're about to shoot their beam, and you can dodge it really easily, and then you can take your time and fight them, and just keep backing up because they do have a lunge attack, and you want to be aware of that. Now, these right here are what you call birds, and these things are all around the map, and if you make your way towards them, there's no way to sneak around them. If you get into a certain radius, each group of birds has a different radius. You'll learn the radius as you play, but the closer you get, they will fly away, they will make a ton of noise, and everyone in that area will know you are there. As you see, they are flying away. They stay in the air for a good amount of time, so if people don't hear it, they still see it in the sky. So be wary, and if you see or hear birds, you know there's someone there. Now the evac lights are something people do not talk about, but they're extremely important in understanding your surroundings. So if you just go to evac, as we see here, the light is just straight yellow. This means that there's no one in that area that has that evac, and this is important because if you get closer to the evac, you will see the light change to kind of a green blue color. It depends on where you are and how the sun's hitting it, but as you see, it changed colors, and this is super helpful because if you're in a spot, and imagine I'm at base camp and I don't have the base camp evac, and somehow the lights are blue, that means someone else is there that has that evac, so that's just more information for me to use in order to succeed. Now once you call the evac, the lights will go yellow, they'll blink a couple times, then the ship will come down, but you'll hear a large noise and you will be informed that it has been called. So always be on the lookout near the evacs for those blue-green lights. Now this right here is what you call a Jeff, or known as a Marauder. These things are extremely powerful and they can hurt you big time, but there's a super simple way to kill them. They will do different attacks, but eventually they will charge at you and they will do something where they open their mouth just like this, and you want to shoot them right at the top of their mouth. And just look at how much damage I do in one shot. As we see here, I have almost half of his damage gone. I am using the best gun for this method, which is the shatter gun, but shooting them at the top of the mouth when it is open does a lot more damage than just shooting them on their body. Now as you see, I shoot again, I go for the top of his mouth, and as you see, he is basically one shot. That didn't stun him, but it usually does stun them. But then he goes for a swing, he hits me once, and then I just shoot him one more time because he was so weak. But that's how to easily kill the Jeff. Now this right here is what you call a meteor, and this is a meteor fragment, and there's a super simple and quick way to mine these meteor fragments. You don't have to mine the whole thing. It's gonna max take 2 hits to get the meteor fragment out. So if you look around the meteor, you're gonna see that it has some spiked edges, and you're gonna look for this edge right here. It's a pointy one that kind of faces up, and it's gonna be the edge that's sticking out the most. You walk over to it and you manage to hit it just twice, once and then twice, and the meteor fragment is gonna fall out almost every single time. So don't waste 5 minutes hitting the whole thing. Hit it once, hit it twice, and the meteor fragment will just fall out for you. Now as we see here, I am low on health and I'm going towards this green plant that's usually located in the jungle. Just look at my health bar. Look at how close I am to the plant and look at how quickly my health goes up. This plant does heal you, so if you're stuck in the jungle with no heals, or you're stuck on some parts on Crescent Falls, this plant can also be located there, but it can give you some free heals. But this plant only has a certain amount of juice, and when it runs out of juice, it will turn this pink color and you will no longer be able to use it, but get as much life out of it as possible. Now when you're evacing, it's important to take cover and make sure you make it out safe. So this is an example of the jungle evac right on the corner of jungle. As you see, it'll only have one door open, which is the main front door. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna smoke the entrance, and I'm gonna get a gas grenade and throw it inside the smoke, so if someone tries to push me, they won't be able to see the gas grenade, and it's gonna be super viable for you to protect yourself and make sure you make it out alive. You don't need the gas grenade, but if you have it, why not use it if you feel like you're not confident enough in defending yourself. Now one thing for the storm is this thing is dangerous as lightning strikes down rapidly on your area, and as you see here, we'll have a circle of lightning forming around us, and a super easy and quick way to dodge this is just sprint, slide, jump out of the lightning. Just make sure you have close to full stamina when you're in storm. Just walk, and then when lightning comes towards you, sprint, crouch, and jump away. Sometimes it will double strike you, sometimes you cannot dodge it, but try your best. And if you need to be outside during a storm, sprint, crouch, jump, and just slide out of the lightning just like that. Another quick tip for you is if you're collecting old currency, just right click it into your inventory and then just drag the whole group into your safe pockets. This is opposed to going in, grabbing the old currency, dragging it into your safe pocket. You're saving only about 3 seconds, but trust me, in some case scenarios, you're gonna need those 3 seconds. Now another good tip is if you need to hide from people or players, go behind something that is about player height when you're crouched and look straight down, and your head will be tucked. And you'll see in an example here, we have an enemy looking straight at us in the beginning. We can see his head, and then when he goes to look straight down, you'll see that his head just disappears completely. So if you're trying to hide, use your ears and just listen, look straight at the ground, and it will help you to hide in these situations. That's going to be it for the video. Thank you for watching, and make sure you are subscribed to the channel and following me on Twitch, and I'll see you in the next one. Deuce.